Are you making the same English mistake that keeps you sounding like a beginner even after months of studying? Today, I'm going to reveal the 7 most common mistakes that beginners make and the simple fixes that will instantly make you sound more natural and confident. Stick around, because mistake number 4 is probably something you're doing right now without even realizing it. Welcome back to Learn English 2 podcast, the show that helps you master English fast with fun, engaging lessons. I'm your host, and I'm here to help you speak English fluently, understand native speakers, and boost your confidence through real conversations and practical tips. Whether you're just starting your English journey or you want to fix those stubborn beginner habits, this episode is packed with actionable advice you can use immediately. So grab your notebook, get comfortable, and let's dive into these 7 game-changing fixes that will transform your English speaking today. Let's start with mistake number 1, and this one affects almost every beginner I've ever taught. It's about silent letters and pronunciation. Here's what happens. You see a word like knife or right or thumb and you pronounce every single letter. But in English, many letters are silent. When you say K-knife instead of knife or W-right instead of right, you immediately sound like you're reading from a textbook instead of speaking naturally. The fix is simple but requires practice. Start learning words by their sound, not their spelling. Listen first, then see the spelling. For example, knife sounds like knife. Right sounds like right. Thumb sounds like thumb. Make a list of common silent letter words and practice them daily. Words like lamb, listen, castle, muscle, and honest. Your pronunciation will improve dramatically when you stop trying to pronounce letters that native speakers don't say. Here's a practical tip. When you learn a new word, always check the pronunciation in a dictionary app that has audio. Don't guess based on spelling. English spelling is tricky, even for native speakers. So always trust your ears over your eyes when it comes to pronunciation. Mistake number 2 is probably the most common grammar error I hear from beginners, and it's this phrase, I am agree. I hear this constantly, and it makes sense why beginners say it. In many languages, you use the verb to be with adjectives and states. But in English, agree is a verb, not an adjective. You don't be agree, you just agree. The correct way is simply I agree or I disagree, not I am agree or I am disagree. Think of it this way. Agree is an action, like run or eat or think. You wouldn't say I am run or I am eat, right? Same logic applies to agree. Here are some correct examples. I agree with you. She agrees with the plan. We don't agree on everything. Do you agree? Notice there's no am, is, or are before agree. This mistake happens because beginners overthink grammar rules. Sometimes simpler is better. Now let's talk about mistake number 3, which causes so much confusion for beginners. It's mixing up simple and continuous tenses. I constantly hear things like, I am go to work every day, or she is like chocolate. These sound unnatural because you're using continuous tenses when you need simple tenses. Here's the rule that will fix this immediately. Use simple tenses for habits, facts, and general truths. Use continuous tenses for actions happening right now or temporary situations. So, I go to work every day is correct because it's a habit. I am going to work means you're traveling to work right now. She likes chocolate is correct because it's a general preference. She is liking chocolate doesn't work because like describes a state, not an action. Practice with these examples. Habits. I drink coffee every morning. He watches TV after dinner. They study English on weekends. Right now, actions. I am drinking coffee. He is watching TV. They are studying English. See the difference? Simple for routine, continuous for current action. Mistake number 4 is about word order, and this one trips up beginners whose native languages have different word order rules. In English, we follow a specific pattern: subject, verb, object. But I often hear things like, very much I like pizza, or yesterday went I to school. English word order is actually quite rigid compared to many languages. The basic pattern is subject first, then verb, then object. I like pizza very much. Not very much I like pizza. I went to school yesterday. Not yesterday went I to school. Here's how to remember this. Think of English sentences like a train. The subject is the engine that pulls everything else. The verb is the first car, showing what's happening. The object comes next, showing who or what receives the action. Then you can add extra information like time, place, or manner at the end. Sarah bought flowers yesterday at the market. Subject Sarah, verb bought, object flowers, then the extra details. Practice this pattern with simple sentences first. Tom eats breakfast. Maria speaks Spanish. Children play games. Once this feels natural, you can add more information. Tom eats breakfast quickly every morning. Maria speaks Spanish fluently with her family. Children play games happily in the park. Mistake number 5 involves articles. Those little words a, an, and the that seem impossible to master. I hear beginners either skip them completely or use them incorrectly. Things like, I need advice, instead of I need some advice, or I went to the school when they mean I went to school. Here's a simplified approach that works for most situations. Use a or an when you're talking about one of many things, something general or new information. I saw a movie last night. She's an engineer. We need a new car. Use the when you're talking about something specific that both you and the listener know about. The movie was amazing. The engineer I mentioned yesterday. The car we looked at yesterday. Don't use any article with general concepts. Plural things in general, or certain fixed expressions. I love music. Children need sleep. I go to work by bus. She's in hospital. Not I love the music, or I go to the work, or she's in the hospital. Unless you're talking about specific music or a specific workplace or a specific hospital building, the key is to start noticing how native speakers use articles in the content you consume. Pay attention to patterns in movies, podcasts, and conversations. Articles become natural with exposure and practice, not by memorizing complicated rules. Mistake number 6 is about prepositions. And this might be the hardest area for beginners because prepositions often don't translate directly between languages. I hear things like, I am interested in music, instead of I am interested in music, or I agree with you, instead of, wait, that one is actually correct. Let me give you a better example. I am good in English instead of I am good at English. Prepositions are tricky because they often don't follow logical rules. You have to learn them with the words they commonly go with. For example, we say interested in, not interesting in. We say good at, not good in. We say depend on, not depend from. We say different from or different than, not different of. The best way to learn prepositions is through chunks and phrases, not individual rules. Instead of trying to memorize that at goes with time and on goes with days, learn complete phrases. At 3 o'clock, on Monday, in the morning, at night, on the weekend. Learn these as complete units, and your preposition use will sound more natural. Keep a notebook of prepositional phrases you encounter. When you hear excited about, write it down. When you see worried about, add it to your list. When you notice famous for, include that too. Building a collection of these phrases is much more effective than trying to learn abstract preposition rules. Now for mistake number 7, and this one might surprise you. It's trying to use complicated vocabulary when simple words work better. Beginners often think that using big, complex words makes them sound more advanced. But actually, using simple, common words correctly sounds much more natural than using complicated words incorrectly. I hear beginners say things like, I am experiencing tremendous satisfaction with this cuisine, when they mean, I really like this food, or I require assistance with my academic pursuits, instead of I need help with my studies. This doesn't sound impressive. It sounds unnatural and forced. Native speakers use simple words most of the time. We say big more often than enormous. We say happy more than euphoric. We say help more than assistance. The goal isn't to sound like a dictionary. It's to communicate clearly and naturally. Focus on mastering common, everyday vocabulary first. Learn to use words like get, make, do, have, go, and come in all their different contexts. These simple words are incredibly versatile and will serve you much better than memorizing lists of advanced vocabulary you don't know how to use properly. Here's a practical approach. For every new complex word you learn, make sure you also know at least 3 simple ways to express the same idea. If you learn delighted, make sure you're comfortable with happy, pleased, and glad. If you learn enormous, be confident with big, huge, and large. First, let's quickly recap these 7 common beginner mistakes and their fixes. First, don't pronounce silent letters. Learn words by sound, not spelling. Second, never say, I am agree. Just say, I agree, because agree is a verb, not an adjective. Third, use simple tenses for habits and facts, continuous tenses for current actions. Fourth, follow English word order, subject, verb, object, then extra information. Fifth, learn articles through patterns and exposure, not complicated rules. Sixth, learn prepositions in chunks and phrases with the words they commonly go with. And 7th, master simple vocabulary before trying to use complex words. Simple and correct beats complicated and wrong every time. Remember, making mistakes is part of learning, but now you know how to fix these 7 common ones. The key is practice and awareness. Pay attention to these patterns when you listen to English content, and consciously apply these fixes when you speak. Before you go, I want you to try something. Pick one of these 7 mistakes that you know you make, and for the next week, focus specifically on fixing that one mistake. Don't try to fix everything at once. Choose one, practice it consciously, and watch how much more natural you sound. If this episode helped you identify mistakes you've been making, hit that like button and let me know in the comments which mistake you're going to work on first. I read every comment and I love hearing about your English learning journey. Don't forget to subscribe to Learn English 2 podcast and ring that notification bell so you never miss our daily English lessons. We have new episodes coming up on conversation practice, pronunciation challenges, and real-life English scenarios that will take your speaking to the next level. And if you want even more practice, check out our previous episodes on English pronunciation and grammar basics. The links are in the description below. Keep practicing, keep improving, and remember, every mistake you fix is a step closer to fluent English. I'll see you in the next episode where we're going to tackle intermediate grammar challenges. Until then, keep learning and keep speaking English confidently.